Did you know there was an upstart study that predicts by 2025, the American workforce will be 22% remote? Hi, welcome to HR Secrets, where we're going to cover how to get that remote job. We're going to jump into where to find remote jobs, how to apply for them and tailor your resume, and then how to interview for it so you're going to secure that position. Before we get started though, some things to keep in mind. You'll need a stable internet connection, a webcam, and a mic. Standard for pretty much any remote job. Now, yes, there's different kinds. There's data entry, support services, there's call centers, all sorts of different kinds. But just get these three things taken care of and you're fine. Okay, so the first step, finding the job. Most people, when they're searching for a job, they're gonna go to Indeed, they're gonna go to Glassdoor, LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter. I wouldn't recommend these for remote jobs. What you wanna do is find an actual job board tailored for remote jobs. That's where most people, when they're looking for remote work to get hired for, they're gonna post them there. And I'll post a list down in the description, but things like weworkremotely.com, flexjobs.com, skipthedrive.com, this list goes on. There's a bunch. So make sure you pick them and use them. I'm not saying don't use Indeed, but you're gonna have better bang for your buck for time invested in these. Okay, so now we know where to find them. How do we apply for them? Yes, you're gonna apply like any other job, but you're gonna need to tailor your resume for a remote job, because this is a lot different than just your normal in-person positions you're interviewing for. What's that gonna entail? Well, of course, right up front, remote jobs, they look better for candidates with experience in remote work. But let's pretend you don't have any remote work, okay? Let's pretend you're kind of down in terms of lacking there. However, you can still stand out. First thing I would include when you're going over your skills, include words per minute. There's gonna be lots of typing with a remote job. Just inherently, that's how it goes. Now, let's say you're a slow typer. We're gonna need to fix that. Go to Google, type in words per minute test. Find out where you're at. If you're maybe below 50, I'd recommend getting faster, especially if you chicken peck, right? You don't want to do that. So go test, and then you can also find free resources on Google to help you type faster. If you really want a remote job, you're going to do this, okay? Bottom line, you got to be dedicated. Improve your typing. Next, software. This is a big one because all remote jobs, they use software to interact with people. It's a requirement. Now, let's say you don't have much software experience. Go to YouTube and type in Microsoft Teams tutorial for beginners, anything like that. Slack tutorial or for beginners. Keep going on. I'll include a list of common software down the bottom so you can put this on your resume. That's what's important. You want your resume to stand out. And then you can get more training on that as you get hired on. But first, you gotta get hired. Once you've done some research effectively, you can say you have experience in these. Yes, you haven't used it in the work environment, but you've got experience, so you're not lying. I've got experience with Microsoft Office, I've got experience with Slack, blah, 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 blah. Put that on the resume. And if you get hired and you don't know how to do something, you'll get additional training. That's fine. You just need to get the job first. And then of course, focus on your experience. If you've worked at a call center, if you've worked at some kind of maybe financial aid as a random thing, somewhere where you're needing spreadsheets and numbers, that's great. If you've worked at customer service, that's great. Be sure to tailor your resume to show qualities that may be relevant for the job you're applying for. And if you're not sure, look at the vacancy, look at the job description that you're applying for. How can you pull out what you've done and try to grab some points there? You want to tailor this resume. I can't say it enough. If you just apply willy-nilly without even looking at the job description, you're doing yourself a disservice and you're gonna make somebody else stick out higher than you. Okay, we found the jobs, we applied for them, now let's interview for them. It's of course gonna be a Zoom interview or some type of online interview. Be ready for that. Meaning the day of your interview, you had better, like an hour before, check your internet connection, check your webcam, check your mic, make sure you're working. If you have an issue like 5 minutes before the interview, it shows you were not prepared and it's already about giving you a red flag. Now, most common interview questions, going to start off with, tell me about yourself. I've actually did a 4-minute video going into detail on this one because it is the most important question to nail down. It will determine how the rest of the interview goes. Be sure to check out that video, it'll help a lot. Now, the next question you're probably going to get asked, what kind of experience do you have of remote work? Or have you ever worked at a remote job in the past? And let's assume you don't have any remote work. You can start off by still answering with, no, I don't actually have any remote work, but I've researched and studied some of the most common issues people have. So I'm prepared to deal with those as they come up. And then rattle off some examples, like how to deal with interruptions, how to make sure you're productive at home, how to balance home and work, and how to not overwork, right? To burn yourself out. So you can tailor yourself an answer even if you have no experience. Be ready for that. And then of course, they're gonna probably ask you on software. That's where you can say, I've got experience with this, and this. I'm not the most proficient with it, but I can learn, especially when I start realizing what I need the software for. I can research it more on YouTube and I can be ready. And then you will be asked, how do you handle distractions? Be sure to have some plans in place. Like, I have kids, but they're actually at school, or my youngest has to be watched by my husband or my wife or somebody in my family, my neighbor, showing that you have things in place. Or you can say like, well, I live in a remote area, which is perfect for a remote job. I have no distracting neighbors, anything like that. And another one you're likely to get asked is communication with other coworkers, supervisors, and customers remotely, right? Now, you can always answer this saying, well, because of social media in our day and age, that's just how we naturally communicate. That shouldn't be an issue. But you can go further into detail on that, saying, well, I'm great with email, phone call, instant messaging, whatever people prefer, I'll adapt to it. That's okay. No issues there. Essentially, be quick to answer some of these, and it just shows that you're confident. They're not going to be worried about it. That's what you're trying to create here, an environment where they're not going to think of red flags. They're just going to boom, 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 keep moving on, and you're standing out. And you can research normal in-person interview questions that are going to be part of this as well. You may get asked like, what is the most challenging thing you've had to overcome at work, or when is a time you failed? So be sure to have an answer ready for these. I plan on doing a video that covers all the most common interview questions, and we'll eventually come out with that, but it's not out yet. So do your own research on those and be ready. All right, guys, there you have it. Hopefully you got the job. If not, keep trying. Don't get discouraged, especially if you made it to the interview phase. That's good. The more you interview, the better you're going to get at this. And just keep improving your skills that we talked about, and you're going to make yourself more desirable on paper as well. So keep trying. All right, guys, if you liked the video, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It'll help me grow and help me reach more people. Thank you, guys, and take care.